everybody, to another awesome episode of Wine, Hops, and Road Stops, shot on location here at the Beer Stop in West Hazelton. I am with my good friend and co-host, Alan. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Nice, cold, blistery day.
It is finally cold out. We're actually getting ready for a big major snowstorm.
5 to 8 inches. We'll see what happens.
That's why we're getting this done. We're getting this shot today, so we have it in the can. Before we go any further, if you like what you see here, if you want to talk to us, Facebook is the best place to talk to us. Facebook.com/wine, hops, and road stops. Send us your questions, your comments, your concerns, all that good stuff. Let's get to some news, because there's some news happening in the beer world right now. Some big news.
Big news.
Pabst Blue Ribbon Company, they're alleging that Miller Coors is attempting to put them out of business. According to court documents, Miller Coors is seemingly planning to end a long-standing partnership between the two brands, in which Miller Coors packages and produces almost all of Pabst Blue Ribbon's products. Miller Coors say they don't have the means to continue producing the 4 to 4.5 million barrels Pabst Blue Ribbon requires annually, and that PBR isn't paying them enough to warrant continuation. PBR claims they are entirely dependent on Miller Coors, and this deal in question is not meant to expire till 2020. So what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, if you're PBR, make your own beer. I mean, I understand, the expenses and everything else, but if you have to have your competition make your beer, pay for it. Might mean we don't have PBR anymore, but nonetheless, I can't blame, Miller Coors.
Now, if you said we weren't going to have some kind of craft beer before, I'd be really sad.
Yeah,
but
it's PBR.
PBR does hold a special place in my heart. I won't tell you how old I was, but that was the first beer I ever had. Moving on, more news, global news, world news right now. U.S. troops drink Iceland capital's entire beer supply in one weekend. Go USA. More than 6,000 soldiers were in
Reykjavik, Iceland,
for 4 days, participating in a NATO-led military exercise. After their drills, the troops reportedly visited the city's downtown bars, where they finished off the entire beer supply.
That's awesome.
Leave it to the Americans,
Yeah.
right?
And actually, Iceland probably loved it because Iceland has a very nanny state, and they actually tax the beer heavy. It's about $8 to $9 of tax per bottle of beer.
Wow, so they got their money's worth.
So they got their money's worth,
Yeah,
yes. Average cost there, even for just a standard local brew, is going to be about $12 to $15.
They made out on this whole
So
deal.
they made out on it as well, but like I said, go USA.
Now, since that happened actually right before our last episode was shot. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last time, but we're talking about it this time. So in honor of the U.S. troops drinking all the beer, what are we doing today?
We have the Iceland Invasion. We got 5 different beers from Iceland right now, and we're going to sample them. Nice thing is, they're actually very good beers, and it's a really nice spectrum of styles.
I'm looking forward to this, and so should you. So don't go away. We'll be right back with some beer tasting on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Wine, Hops, and Road Stops, shot on location here at the Beer Stop in West Hazelton. And like we were discussing before the break, we have beers from Iceland, which is a brewery in Iceland, because apparently the American soldiers over there drank the entire city dry. So in honor of that, we're going to try some beers from Iceland. So what do we have here today? What's coming up first?
All right, well, first we'll do their Iceland White Ale. It's kind of like a Blue Moon in that range.
Okay.
Lemony. It's kind of a staple here, quite frankly. We always have this. It's just a really nice, refreshing beer. It's just a get done mowing the lawn, goes down quick, nothing fancy, no hops to it, no hoppiness. A nice entry-level beer if you're just getting to the microbrew world.
I'm going to say this about it. It doesn't taste like Blue Moon, though. Maybe a similar style, but it doesn't taste like Blue Moon. Actually, it's a little bit
more lemon than orange.
Right, there you go. A little bit.
Probably closer to like the lemon shandies. Next is their Pale Ale.
Now we're talking. I like the color on this. That's a Pale Ale.
Yeah. But it's really very light on hops, compared to the other Pale Ales, so.
Yeah, what I've noticed with Pale Ales, especially since we've been doing the show, there's a range
Yeah.
of pale ales. Some pale ales will taste like this.
Some of you almost call them IPAs practically.
Yeah, some of them are just hopped out of control. So I'm not even sure what the difference is anymore sometimes between some pale ales and some IPAs because they're hopped.
Right.
This one I think is a little bit more like what I think of when I think of a
should be a pale ale.
Sure. Smooth.
All right.
Okay.
Next is their double bock. Okay, a double bock, twice the malt. So
Okay.
twice fermented, twice higher alcohol, darker color. So you're kind of almost doubling everything that you do in the mash to come out with a twice a beer in one glass.
So we're looking at probably a maltier taste. to this.
Maltier, probably around 7% alcohol in that range.
And there you go.
Yep. It's a very heavy malty beer.
It's a very heavy malty beer. You're right.
And actually, bock does mean goat.
Bock means goat, huh?
I believe so, yes.
It's a goat beer. Oh, those crazy Icelanders.
It's a nice drinking beer, easy drinking beer though. Again,
It's going
hops
down.
very minimal.
Yeah, it's going down real
Yeah.
easy.
Now this style is their wee Scotch. So it's a wee heavy Scotch ale, which typically is not one of my favorites.
No?
No, I've never been a big Scotch. I mean, just in the nose, you can tell right away it's something different.
And there's that Scotch ale bite at the end.
Yep.
There's that
Yep.
signature Scotch ale bite, I like to call it. That
It is. It's a very specific, style and flavor, and it's just it really hits more of the whiskey flavors than the beer flavors.
right.
And if that's something you like, this is definitely beer for you.
Yeah, if you're into like the barrel-aged beers too, but
Yep.
don't want to,
Spend the money on
spend
it.
the money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Take words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
Scotch ales are the way to go because you're still going to get that Scotch aftertaste, that end there,
Yep.
that bite.
Yep. You just won't have quite as high. Usually the barrel aged stuff ends up in the 10 to 12 alcohol range.
Right.
Again, this is probably 6.5, 7%, something
That's
like
another
that.
thing. You don't want a real heavy or real
Correct.
boozy beer,
Yeah.
but you still want that taste. There you go.
Yep. And this is their porter, which is my favorite one of theirs. Nice coffee notes to it.
Not overbearing.
No, again, it's a porter, not a stout.
Right.
So it's not going to be anywhere near as heavy. A lot lighter drinking. Again, a great dessert beer. Porters tend to really be in that dessert beer range because it's not so heavy.
This is the toasted porter.
Correct,
What does
yeah.
that mean?
It's actually brewed with Icelandic coffee in it as well. So it's kind of a coffee porter, actually.
Okay. So that's why they call it a toasted porter. There's some kind of toasted coffee to it. And you can taste it. It's not overbearing.
No, and it's
It's a hint of coffee there.
a hint of coffee. It doesn't hit you hard like a lot of the stouts do.
I didn't know Iceland made coffee. I figured that was like a southern thing, southern hemisphere thing. But
Well, it might not be their beans. It's just, probably the guy brewing Maxwell House.
it's good though.
It's very good. Like I said, this is my favorite one of all the Einstocks. But I do tend to lean towards the stouts and porters. so.
Right. Now, the Einstock, I've had a few of their beers before, not all of these, but overall, this is a really, really nice beer here from this brewing company. Nothing's bad.
No, nothing's bad. Everything's really nice, and it's a lot of fun because you can kind of get a variety pack of everything, bring it over to your friend's house, and you have an Iceland night. Something a little bit different.
Yeah, I like that. Iceland.
And a good way to taste 5 different styles of beer.
And there's a Viking on the label. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with a Viking.
Oh, he looks pretty brutal.
And you can even get the Viking with the Rudolph nose.
Ah. So there's our Einstock. Little Iceland invasion, like you said.
Yep.
When we come back, we're getting on the road. We're going down to the Drums Valley. We're gonna go visit our friends at Vesuvio's to check out their new sports bar and their grand opening and everything that's been done to that place. So don't go away, there's more wine, hops, and road stops coming back right after this. Welcome back to Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. Today's road stop is 366 Butler Drive in the Drums Valley. Yes, we are back at Vesuvio's Restaurant and Sports Bar. Yes, the new addition to Vesuvio's is a sports bar, and the restaurant has a nude look, but the same atmosphere. with great pizza and great service. I got behind the bar with Jimmy to talk all about these new renovations, great pizza, and great beer.
We have a great addition to the restaurant. We repurposed our upper level to a 17-seat bar. We have, as you can see, 9 TVs around the bar with all different channels. We're going to be doing the NFL Red Zone on Sundays for you guys to come out and enjoy the games and follow your fantasy. My mom and I coined a new phrase. It's modern but rustic, so we like to term it modern rustic. We started after Labor Day. We encased the upper area in plastic so that Hallmark Homes, my good friend Mr. McGowan, could come in and actually build this bar without disrupting the business. And then when we were all ready and to do the rest of it, we closed for 1 week, the first week of October. And when we came back, it was all done and ready to go. It looks like a brand new business. We widened the entryway into the dining room to make things feel more inclusive. We have the big, beautiful TVs on the wall, so when you walk in, that's one of the first things you see right at the front door. We added different styles of seating in, so that way people can be accommodated in different ways. And there are some more changes coming, minor ones. You know, some new tables that I've been thinking of getting. So stay tuned.
Now there's a lot of changes here, but one thing that has never changed is the food, the recipes, all that stuff. Tell me about that.
Well, we've been using the same recipes that my grandparents taught us, and they've been using it for 43 years. So we're really happy to have learned from them and been around them for, well, I had my grandmother for 20 years and my grandfather for 29, so I'm a pretty lucky guy to have that much experience with them. But as you know, this is a different area for us. Like, we've never actually had an indoor bar and a year-round bar, so there'll be some menu changes coming up. We're gonna have more bar-type food, you know, pretzels, maybe some tater tots, you know, loaded tots, things like that. So like I said, stay tuned. There's always new things coming.
Will there still be the pizza?
Absolutely. There's one thing I like to say. I may be willing to throw a lot of things off my menu, but if my grandparents taught me how to do it, it has to stay.
Many great years of traditional Italian recipes handed down from generation to generation. And you could really tell, but you don't need to take my word for it. So we asked some customers what they think about Vesuvio's food.
Well, if you want great food, you have to come to a great place. And this is a great place to all me and my family. I like the ravioli and meatballs, which I ordered today. And my husband ordered 2 dinners of spaghetti and meatballs today. And I had going out the door, he said, I want 2 hoagies too. So it's a long time since I'm coming here, and never did I have anything that wasn't delicious. I had to drive how many miles now to come here and get my big bag for a couple days. Sometimes I come and I get a big pan of meatballs just to take home and make my own spaghetti. That's how good the sauce is. I just say it's the greatest place to eat. Come and eat here. You'll find out.
More than just a pizzeria now. Now the pizza's good, the food is great here, but let's talk about the beer. You are like me, you're a big fan of craft beer, and behind me, if you can see, there's a lot of taps. What's going on with that?
Well, we are installing, in the process of installing a 48 tap system. It's going to be a mix of, you know, domestics and you know, some of the staple beers, and our really good craft selection is just going to get better. And we're also putting some wines on draft as well from our local winery over at Honey Hole.
So let's talk about some of the beers. I know you have a relationship with Pizza Boy. Real briefly, tell me about this relationship.
Well, Pizza Boy and my family go back many years. Al Kaminsky used to work for my grandparents up in Hazleton, and he's kept up a really good relationship with our family. And it's been very fruitful for both of us, because I and my brother up in Wilkes-Barre are one of the few stops where there's more than 1 or 2 Pizza Boys on draft. And my plan is to have at least 10 on when we do our grand opening on Thanksgiving Eve.
Right when this episode is airing. If you're seeing the first time this episode airs, as soon as the episode's done, get down to Vesuvio's, because they're doing a huge bash to celebrate the grand reopening and the grand opening of the sports bar. Tell me about that.
Well, we're going to be doing draft specials, and we're actually going to have the patio bar open, so bring your jacket, because I think we're going to be a little busy. So I think a lot of people are excited to come down and help us celebrate and enjoy the beautiful renovation that we did.
Well, the nice thing about having a mild fall so far is you can still use your patio.
Absolutely, and we're excited that we can use the patio bar. We'll have the heaters on, so don't worry about that. It's going to be a really nice night. We're going to have lots of drink specials, lots of draft specials.
What else is coming up around Christmas time?
December 23rd, we're having Santa and Mrs. Claus come to entertain the children and to get us into the Christmas spirit. Black Friday is the release of Bourbon County Stout, and this year they have 7 variants, but we're not entirely sure which ones we're getting yet. But as always, I'll have a good selection of the Bourbon County Stout for us on Black Friday.
Lots of great things happening at Vesuvio's Restaurant and Sports Bar in the coming months, so make sure you get down there, get yourself a slice of pizza, have yourself a beer, watch the game at the bar. Jimmy, thank you for your time. This place looks beautiful. Get down to Vesuvio's. The grand opening's going on right now as we air this show new. If you missed it, come down to Vesuvio's anyway. Pizza's great. They got a great selection of beer and wine. It's fantastic. You can't get much better pizza anywhere in northeastern Pennsylvania than Vesuvio's. I love it. You should too. That's our road stop for this episode, so check it out. And now we have a guest on Wine Hops and Road Stops. We have Kylie, who came all the way here from Camp Hill, and the Highway Manor Brewing Company. And this is a brewing company that just really concentrates on sours, am I right?
Correct, yeah, sours only.
Wow, that's cool, but sours are like the new thing.
They are. Every bar pretty much and bottle shop has at least 2 or 3 sour varieties. A lot of customers will leave a bar if there's no sours on draft.
Tell me about what we have here in front of us.
So the brewery in general, the reason why we do sours only is because we do spontaneous production, open fermentation. We have the name Highway Manor from the manor that the owner lives in, that he does all of his farmhouse brewing and cultivated all of his yeast. That manor was built in 1840, and all of the wild yeast strains that he collected over about 8 years essentially is what makes up the name of the brewery. So we're always going to stay sour only because of that. While we're named Highway Manor, we're always going to be a sour only farmhouse brewery. And what I brought today is some of our new ones, then one of our original flagships. The Mr. T is a hibiscus sour ale.
This beer here is probably a good intro to the sour beers.
Yeah, that's why I like to put that one first, just because it is not too tart, it's not overwhelming, there's not a ton of fruit in there, and it's easy on the palate, and then you can progress into other sours.
And the sours definitely have a very specific nose to them.
For
I mean,
sure.
as soon as we have all these open from here, you can tell that they're sour beers.
Yeah.
The yeast strains really come out in them.
Definitely.
But yeah, this one is very mellow, not too tarty.
I'm liking it.
We have
and
a
yeah.
Liking it.
Yeah.
You may have a convert here because, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
I guess with Mr. T, it's the I pity the fool who doesn't like it.
Right, and we have the Mr. T on the label if you didn't see him there, so.
I did. But no, this is a great one to start out with.
Sorry, there's a black van. So anyone that doesn't know the A-team, black van, Mr. T, that went over my head, by the way. But then again, we already shot one full show before you got here.
This one is Mr. Cherry, and Mr. Cherry is one of our many fruit varieties. We just basically buy fruit based on what is a good price, and then we buy as much of it as we can and make a fruit beer just based on what's a good price, and also from some local farms that are giving us deals. Mr. Cherry we came out with, and it's been doing really well. Not to be confused with like a Flander or you know,
like the Framboise and things of that nature.
Right.
This is good though. That's
nice.
And you could taste the cherry to it, and you said it's real cherry. It's fresh.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, 50 pounds per barrel, and fresh always. Never puree, never extract. This one is
Thank you.
a personal favorite of mine, just because it really introduced me into how to love fruit sours. It is going to be a little bit even more sour than Mr. Cherry, but I really like that at the finish you can taste the red wine and the oak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're almost getting into more of a wine than you are.
100%. Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
This
That's
one
very nicely made.
does really well at wine bars or any, you know, any
I could see why.
customer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't necessarily know if they like beer, but they love wine or they love champagne. This one does really well, and it's really delicious with cheese.
So can you age these beers?
Yes, yeah, it's recommended you age them. Most people want to drink them right away. But I think their peak for when you want to drink them after aging them is like 14 months.
14 months. Okay, great. Yeah, I do a bunch of aging at my house and in my cellar, and then bring them back up here for sale. Usually 2-3 years later.
Very cool.
On that sale.
Apparently, I think they have like a 20-year shelf life.
20-year shelf
so,
life.
I mean, you're good for a while.
Great.
There's no way I could let something like this sit for 20 years.
No, no.
Sure, there is. You just have to buy enough of it.
Okay. Well,
All right, what's next?
The last but not least is Hong Kong Sejong, and Hong Kong Sejong is part of the Sejong family. Sejong is part of our Saison yeast program, and we have a sour yeast program and then a Saison yeast program, and we have original Sejong Saison, and then we came out with Hong Kong Sejong, which is a lemongrass ginger version of the original Sejong. And it's got a really nice nose, a really nice finish, really fresh, really juicy.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would even call this a sour per se.
Yeah,
this is a good beer. This is a really good saison.
Yeah.
yeah, it is, and really nice too to have a variety that's just something you can crush in the summertime.
Right.
That's again drinkable, kind of like the Mr. T. We're making a lot more beers like that, but I really like the ginger in there. It's just something you don't want to drink first before a lot of other things because the ginger kind of hangs out on your palate for a little bit.
Definitely, that'd be great with sushi. You also have said how all these were live yeast. Most people don't realize what that means is they actually keep all the barrels open in the mashing process, which allows the natural airs, the natural flora from the flowers and everything come in to help ferment the beers, which is a great old world process.
For sure, yes, definitely. And all of the yeast is kept alive from the original Manor yeast. You'll see little pictures of the Manor on the sides of the bottles. And also we keep things really fresh and exciting with coming out with new beers all the time. So right now we're bottling nectarine and peach and apricot.
Fantastic.
You know, that way we always have something new, and the 12-ounce bottles are constantly rotating with new varieties. I always tell people that are so shocked by the tartness at first to take another sip and look past it because there's so much more to it.
It takes at least 7 beers before you really get into it. So that's
Yeah.
a good number that I've always gone by.
I don't think you know a beer until you have at least the full beer, you know? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I really like this red wine one though. That's
It's really nice, and I've had many dinners that were just that and cheese, and it was very fulfilling.
yeah, that's
so.
great.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, for
Hope to
sure.
see you again. Maybe we'll come to go down to Camp Hill someday.
Yeah.
Check out the tasting room.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
And we will see you next time on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. Until then, life is too short to have bad beer, so drink a good beer and get it from the beer stop. We will see you next time.